city shutting down its government because the two parties couldn't get along. It's not an option because we're plowing the snow and delivering water. You just find a solution. One of many reasons why this campaign is built partly on the idea that we'd be well served if we could start getting Washington to run a little more like our best run cities and towns before the reverse starts to happen. Thrilled to be here in Dubuque one more time, a city, a river city that reminds me of my own home. A city known for work on how local government can help build up, local communities can help build up environmental solutions. And a community that knows what's at stake in making sure that we get ahead of 21st century threats like climate change that are not only a concern on the coast, they're a concern right here in the middle of the country. And I know you understand. And through our visits to Dubuque, you've all made me feel more and more welcome each time. For the first visit, we were at that brewery near the river. Beautiful space. And I was still in the phase of trying to help people know how to say my name. You all solved it for me. It's just first name Mayor, last name Pete. Seems to be what I'm supposed to know. Good news. A caucus is multiple choice. There's no pronunciation or spelling test. You just got to know what corner to go in, and I'm here to ask you to be in my corner on February 3rd. Inviting everybody else you know into this process. But I know that some folks are still making up their minds. Same people that I saw in the late fall starting to let me know that I was getting somewhere, encouraging me with good reviews on our appearances, saying things like that. That appearance was so good that you're now in my top 7. That Iowa way that you're at. And now coming down to the city. And I want to urge you to look at the historic opportunity in front of us and consider what it is that we have to do. And in particular, I'm here to make the case that what we need to do in order to govern well is the same thing it's going to take in order to win big. In other words, I'm here to ask you not to choose, not to feel like you have to choose between listening to your head and your heart, between winning and governing, between unity and boldness. I'm here to make the case that we not only can but must do all of that this time around. And to illustrate how and why, I want to begin by inviting you to form in your own mind the image that guides everything we do on this campaign. And it's the image of that first day that the sun comes up over Dubuque, and for the first time, Donald Trump is no longer the president of the United States. Sooner rather than later. Yeah. And I don't even think that's a partisan statement anymore, because I'm meeting so many Democrats, yes, but also so many independents, and an awful lot of what I like to call future former Republicans who come to my events. You're very welcome to join us in bringing that day about, because we all see why there needs to be a change. The fact that we're going to need to be ready for issues that are just different in their nature than what we were facing just a few years or a few decades ago. Climate is one example, as those once-in-a-century floods become an annual event in a way that is leaping off the pages of the science journals and into our lives. So is an economy that is changing so swiftly due to technology and automation, a tech economy, a gig economy, completely different from what anybody could picture just a few years ago. An international scene where we are facing threats the likes of which were not understood before, from global health security concerns coming out of China to cybersecurity and election security concerns coming out of Russia, all in a moment when the world is making plans for what they might have to do if they can't count on the United States. These are the things the next president will have to deal with, all while doing it in an environment in Washington that is more paralyzed and polarized by partisan dysfunction than we have seen in generations. And so to deal with those issues, to face those challenges that are new in kind from what we saw before, it's going to take a president ready to turn the page, move from the old habits and old mindsets that got us here, and govern for the 21st century. And that's, by happy circumstance, the exact thing we're going to need in order to win this election too. Think about this. In the last 50 years, every time that my party has won the White House, the nominee has been somebody who is focused on the future, a new voice in national politics, and opening the door to a new generation of leadership. That's true every time that we win. And this time, we've got to make sure that we win. Because we have a respectful but real and meaningful difference of opinion on the right approach. Vice President Biden is making the case that this is no time to take a risk on somebody new. But I believe history has shown us that the biggest risk we could take is to go up against a new kind of opponent in a new kind of moment by falling back on the familiar. Right. Together in a politics that feels too often like it's my way or the highway. Like you've either got to choose a revolution or the status quo. There's another way. And that other way is to recognize that actually this is the moment when we have a historic American majority that agrees not just on what we're against, not just on the need for a better president, but can agree on what it is we're for. A majority ready to line up around the idea of extending health care to everybody so that there's no such thing as an uninsured American, just so long as we leave you the choice to decide when and whether you want to get on that plan we're going to create. This is a majority that's new even compared to what President Obama had to work with 10 years ago. A moment on our hands to energize and galvanize, not polarize, the American people to do big things. But that means making sure that the 2020 election looks nothing like the 2016 election, both in our party and in other. Around that knowledge that what we are for also presents the opportunity to get through the division and the dysfunction that we're living with right now. Because we are for an economy where we actually, not based on the Dow Jones, but based on our lives, make sure that this is a country where everybody can afford to live, where workers are being paid more, not less, and where giant multinational corporations pay their fair share of the billion-dollar. Solutions to keep each other safe, including seeing to it that the Second Amendment can no longer be twisted into an excuse to do nothing at all when it comes to is too late, and leading the world in making sure that the solutions work and are spread throughout the world at a moment when folks are kind of making other plans on what to do if you can't count on the United States. Wouldn't this be a good moment for the world to see us leading on something that everyone can agree is a critical issue? Absolutely. Support and defend organized labor in their efforts to raise wages and raise living conditions for those who work at the workplace and beyond. That's something most Americans can agree on regardless of how you voted last night. We have a consensus page. Most Americans can agree that we've got to take steps now to make this into a country where your race has no bearing on your health or your wealth or your life. With disabilities, but to enlist their capabilities to help everyone. No matter what party you're used to voting for, there is a powerful American majority right now that supports our educators as well as our kids and is ready for a Secretary of Education who believes in public education. Our personal, everyday lives. We have a historic opportunity to gather together a majority where everyone belongs. One that has a place for people from all walks of life. Whether you're a conservative-leaning independent like Drew, who has no use for the current behavior of the White House, whether you're a first-generation American like Estefania, who has as much to contribute or more as anybody else, no matter your background, no matter your story, you belong in this effort that we're working to create. And if we can create that sense of belonging in this campaign, imagine what we could do with the powers of the presidency to make this country a better place to live. So as we pull into these final days, final hours of this process, what I am struck by, what I'm reflecting on, are the stories of the people that I've met along the way who demonstrate by their circumstances and by their intentions what the problems and what the solutions are going to look like. You can see the problems of an economy where they tell us everything's fine based on the stock market, but more folks have to work harder and harder just to get ahead. Just by talking to folks around the state of Iowa. The preschool teacher who introduced me in Webster City and said it was a good day that a good thing my event happened to be on the day that it was on, because she only gets a day off every 2 weeks. Because as a preschool teacher, she's also got to work in Hy-Vee just to make ends meet. One job ought to be enough in this country. Yeah. See the face of the solutions in people like the high school student who approached me in Emmitsburg at a town hall to ask about immigration policy. Ask about what was going on the border, even though I don't think she's ever been near the border. But she understood what was at stake there, and she explained why this was personal for her. She talked about what it felt like in her family when her father walked out on them a couple years earlier. So you see, she had the moral imagination to connect up her pain to the stories she's hearing about the border, because she knows exactly what the words family separation meant to her family. Now, if she can start to put herself in the shoes of a 5-year-old boy from El Salvador whose life on its surface looks nothing like hers, 1,000 miles away from where she lives, somewhere at the border in Texas, caught up in this president's cruel policies, then surely the rest of us can see to it that Washington finally has as much moral imagination as a high schooler in the middle of Iowa. in this campaign, in my travels, and even the biggest, grandest, broadest issues are personal, not just local, but personal for somebody. I'm often thinking about a chance encounter that happened when I was at the airport just 2 or 3 weeks ago. Ran into somebody I had not seen since we were both in Afghanistan. Hadn't seen her since she was injured in an insider attack while we were both deployed out there. And when I saw her, ran into her, walking down the airport with her teenage son, I saw that she was wearing a t-shirt from the Wounded Warrior Project, and it said, "Some assembly required." And I asked her how she was doing. And she lifted up her knee and tapped on her prosthetic and said that the Navy had fixed her up just fine. And that she was looking forward to her next deployment. Because the people who put on this country's uniform will do whatever the United States of America asks of them. That is why it is personal that we see to it that we get a commander-in-chief who will honor our troops' service and sacrifice by making sure they will never be asked to sacrifice if there is any alternative, and will take care of them. These are the stories and these are the stakes. What I'm seeing demonstrates what we have an opportunity to put right in this country. To come together not just around what we're against, but around what we're for, and to invite everybody to be part of that process. And in the, not just in the crowds, but in the one-on-one conversations we're having, I can see it everywhere I go. Now, our numbers have grown a little bit since I first poked my head into diners a year ago in Iowa trying to explain how to say my name. But it's never too big of a crowd to have a conversation. So we've gathered up questions from folks as you were coming in. And to be your voice and guide this discussion, I'd like you to welcome Daniel back to the stage, who's going to moderate our conversation.